seen an anime like this before?
Nah, must be my imagination. Now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta get back to conquering, playing this game. Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy here with my first anime review for 2017, and that's on the anime Date A Live Seasons 1 and 2. Now, Date A Live follows Shido Itsuka, a seemingly average high school boy who gets recruited by an organization called Ratatosuka to confront these mysterious beings known as spirits and seal their powers away by making them fall in love with him. Yup. And we basically just follow Shido as he romances spirit after spirit and deals with new conflicts as they arise. Now, this was yet another anime Blu-ray sent to me by Gabriel Rudy Cortez, and by the look of the cover, I can already tell that this is going to be a romance anime following an average guy as he romances a bunch of girls and forms a harem for himself. So, I kind of knew what to expect going into it. I didn't know much about this anime, but I was curious to check it out. I kept my mind open to it. And after watching both seasons 1 and 2, what do I think about this anime? Well, let's get into it. Right off the bat, the animation here is serviceable. Nothing too spectacular, but nothing terrible either. It's just a-okay. The story can basically be summarized as this. What if Neon Genesis Evangelion and the world God only knows had sex with each other and gave birth to a semi-functional offspring? That is what Date A Live is. Nothing entirely special, but it was fun to watch. The voice acting, particularly the English dub by Funimation, is solid. No surprise there, but I must give extra attention and praise to Josh Greeley's performance in this anime. Even though he voices a pretty average, run-of-the-mill character, he doesn't half-ass it. He puts his all into the role, using his charm, wit, charisma, humor, and passion to present his character in a likable fashion. It's through his voice work that the character stands out to me. He becomes memorable. He becomes somebody that I can actually root for, especially during some of the more dramatic scenes. Like, he's already a good comedic voice actor, but I really saw some of his dramatic chops shine in this anime. So Josh Greeley, thank you for turning a rather average character into somebody that I kind of ended up rooting for. This anime has two great qualities to it. The first is the comedy. This anime, both intentionally and unintentionally, had me laughing hysterically. The comedic situations are just gold, most of it coming from Shido's discomfort by the zany antics of his love interests. The episodes with the best comedy, in my opinion, were first up episode 6, where the AST, or the anti-spirit team, are trying to go to this hot spring to kind of get some R&R, but they get stopped at every single turn, leading to a pretty hilarious outburst by their leader, who, fun fact, is voiced by Yakumo herself, Caitlin Glass. Another is the OVA in the first season, where Shido is forced to go on a date with a girl from his class named Origami, and he tries to make the date fail, but ironically, all of his actions just makes the date go well, to Shido's humiliation.
Well, on top of that, I'm not faithful. I've got like 10 girls right now, so I sneak out of my house all the time. How else am I gonna hit up the club, am I right? The club is where you meet the ladies, you feel me? And the more ladies I have, the better. And when I say have them, I mean do them, obviously.
And the last really funny episode was the first episode of season 2, where Toka, the first spirit that Shido conquered, romanced, mistakenly thinks that Shido is bored with her and plans to leave her, leading to many hilarious misunderstandings. And since we brought up Toka, she is the second best thing about this anime. I absolutely loved her childlike innocence and curious naivete. She was just so freaking precious. And even with a lolly in the picture, she still stands out as the most adorable character of the bunch, and the one character that actually goes through a lot of development throughout the series. I also really like her personality. She's kind but fierce, silly yet determined. And her relationship with Shido was great and convincing. Finally, an anime in which I actually liked and rooted for the main relationship. It was cute, it was touching, it was endearing, it was funny. I liked the bond that these two formed with each other. What more could you possibly ask for? And while on the subject of comedy and characters, there were these three girls in the anime named I, Mai, and Me, who always berated and criticized the main character Shido, and they were just so much fun to watch. I was so glad that they were given much more screen time in the second season, and they added a little bit more to the story. I really like those characters. But unfortunately, we've now reached the part of the review where I must address some of the issues I found with Date A Live. And the biggest issue with this anime deals with its characters. A majority of them are so useless and generic. Shido, while being voiced by a great voice actor, I won't deny that, is sorely lacking in the looks, personality, and development department for a character. He's your basic, chivalrous, and well-meaning protagonist who gets easily embarrassed whenever girls come on to him, whenever he's placed in a sexual situation. Nothing truly wrong with that archetype. It works well for this series. It's just I've seen it done to death so many other times in other light novel anime adaptations that I've kind of grown sick of seeing it. Not only that, but the character doesn't truly grow throughout the anime. He starts off as a well-meaning individual, and he ends the anime as a well-meaning individual. I mean, where's his character arc? How does he grow from his experiences? He doesn't. Origami, on the other hand, was a character that had a lot of potential to her, but was completely wasted in this anime. She was just forced upon us, much like how she forces herself onto Shido. Her main purpose in this anime is seemingly just to fall head over heels for Shido, have some awkward sexual encounters with them, aka blatant and unnecessary fan service scenes, and to act as a love rival to Toka, which is downright laughable considering how great, dynamic, and interesting of a character that Toka is, and how lame and shallow a character like Origami is. And yeah, sure, they do go out of their way to give the character this contrived backstory about how her parents were killed by spirits and all, which I won't deny does give the character a bit more purpose, drive, and motivation in the series, but it comes secondary to the character's main objective, which is titillation. How many sexual situations can we place this character in, and how much TNA can we possibly show of this character? She does have that backstory, but it gets very little attention in the series. In fact, sometimes it's just brought up and then completely forgotten. Now, that's not to say that Origami as a character does not have her moments here and there. She does. Like that OVA episode I brought up earlier. She was great in that episode. She made me laugh out loud. Her shenanigans was really hilarious. The problem with her character is that we don't really see her grow throughout the series, and her shtick runs thin after a while. It stops becoming funny and becomes really annoying. Like, can we see this character progress? Can we see her grow as a character? And can we see her actually try to go find the person responsible for her parents' death? In fact, she finds out who is responsible for her parents' death, and she does act accordingly, but after she discovers this, she doesn't make a big deal about it whatsoever. She just treats it as if it didn't really happen. It's like, oh, you know, it's okay now. I found out who it was, but it's not a big deal. You know, it's all in the past. And I was like, what a waste. That could have been a very interesting drama to deal with the character and her interactions with this other character. But no, it's completely squandered. And why was it squandered? So that they could focus more on the comedy aspect of the character rather than the emotional, dramatic aspect that could have enriched the character. There's also a handful of characters that don't add much to the anime, like Mana, the real little sister of Shido, who is basically a less interesting and entertaining Origami. What does she add to this anime by her presence? Not much. She shows up, then she leaves, and then she shows up again, and then she leaves. That's pretty much it. She has no real effect on the story or the characters. And the villains were also not needed here. They presented little to no threat and were just padding in the anime. Why do we even need to have villains in this series? Can't the main conflict just be about dealing with these spirits and trying to understand who they are, what they are, where they come from, why are they here, why are they causing these spatial quakes? That's a far more complex and riveting conflict than having the cliche typical villain of the week type character. We don't need it. And yes, let's address the elephants in the room. First, the fan service. At times, it did get out of control, especially nearing the end of Season 1 and the start of Season 2. I get it, these girls are super attractive. They have voluptuous boobs, they have great figures. But can we please get back to the story? I want to know more about the story. And then we have the infamous episodes that center around Shido going on a date with his little sister. I'll give the butthurt fans of incest this time to type the "they're not actually blood-related" excuse in the comments. Go ahead. You all done now? Well, with that out of the way, here's my rebuttal. It doesn't matter, they're still siblings. And look, I want to get one thing straight here. I don't hate these episodes primarily because it deals with incest. At this point in time, it doesn't truly faze or surprise me when an anime resorts to telling an incest story. It's become commonplace to me. I kind of expect it. My main issue with this whole story is that it's so insignificant. It serves nothing to the overall story and just seemed like an excuse to tell an incestuous story. And I am not exaggerating when I state that this side story is completely ineffectual to the main story, because after it's all said and done and they go on the date and he unlocks the spirit within her, nothing changes. Everything goes back to the way it was before the date even happens. Like, the sister's the commander of that organization that took Shido and said, hey, you're gonna do this for us. She was the commander of that. And then when we learn that she's a spirit and she goes on the date and all that stuff, guess what happens? She still is the commander of that organization. Nothing changes. No, they're not like, oh, you're a spirit now, so we gotta monitor you and you gotta stay near your brother. No, she just goes back to her day job as if it didn't even happen. In fact, a lot of the characters treat this situation as if it didn't even happen. They even bring up a very vital and pivotal moment that is supposed to have an impact on the characters, but then they just sweep it under the rug as if it didn't happen. Like, oh no, we're over it now. It's all said and done and we're not gonna bring it up. So I must reiterate, what was the point of having it in the anime besides wanting to do an incestuous side story where Shido goes on a date with his sister? What's the purpose? Because I totally did not see one. And finally, the last issue I found with Date Alive was that there were so many questions that were left unanswered by the anime's end. Very important questions like, what caused the second impact? I mean, the massive spatial quake that happened 30 years ago. Why did it happen? Where do spirits come from? Why are they here? What's their purpose? Why do they cause spatial quakes when they arrive? Why are we fighting them? And why are they all girls? Those are just a couple of the questions that I had by the end of this anime that never get addressed. So overall, Date Alive was a mixed bag for me. While I did enjoy some of the elements in the anime, like the voice acting, the comedy, and a handful of the characters, there were other elements that just dragged this anime down and kept it from being something great, like the weak characters, the loose threads that never get resolved by the end of the anime, and the many pointless, unnecessary subplots that lead nowhere. And the anime just comes off as a, it's okay. You know, if you don't see Date Alive, I don't think anyone's gonna really be angry about it. But if you do see it, that's totally fine. It's really up to you. There are some good things about it, but it's just kind of a meh experience. But as always, guys, I'm not the end-all be-all opinion when it comes to Date Alive. I would love to know what you guys thought about this anime as well. Do you freaking adore it? Is it your favorite anime of all time? Or is it really boring and derivative and you couldn't get into it? And let me know, what is a weak character in an anime that was saved by a great voice actor or voice actress? Comment below, let me know, and stay tuned. I got a bunch more reviews coming your way. I gotta get to all the other anime that you guys sent me for BCC month. I know. I'm gonna try to get through them as fast as I can. I don't know how I'm gonna watch them now since my TV's broken. How am I gonna watch these Blu-rays now? I'll find a way. I always find a way. And if you'd like to support the Black Critic Guy just a smidge more, why not donate to my Patreon account? Link is in the description. If you'd like to send me any fan letters, send it to this P.O. Box right up here. And as always, guys, if you'd like to see more videos on this channel, be a part of the Black Critic crew, please hit that subscribe button below, like this video if you really enjoyed it, and I'll tell you what in a second, the spirit conqueror known as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube!